Oh my god, I have a headache. Oh, I can see it. I think it's only when I share the cat. For some reason, it's like, no.
Weird.
No cat. Hi, everyone watching the playback. Thanks for being here. We are the Pyramid Book Club, and we are here to discuss Christmas Presents by Lisa Unger. This is the book that I picked. I picked it, 1, because of Christmas, 2, because it was a novella, and I could read a book in a day and hit my goals. And I did read it in one night, so very proud of me for that. If you're new here, we do this in 2 sections. We do a non-spoiler section, and then we will get into the spoilers. So if you have read the book, let us know in the comments what you thought of it and give us your star rating. But first, we're going to get into a little synopsis of what Christmas Presents is about. Monica, you finished this 30 minutes ago, so you get to do this, and then you get to do your star rating. So you should not do stuff.
So exciting. Yes. So a synopsis. The story. Oh gosh, it has a true crime podcaster, or podcaster is coming back to town to investigate what he believes to be a resurgence of a serial killer who has been behind bars. And so he goes to meet with the main character, Madeline, who is a survivor of the night that a couple of her best friends were killed, and some of them went missing. And so they're trying to figure out what's going on. And he thinks that she has answers. So they're like digging up all of the past and trying to find the girl that recently went missing to try to see if they can save her before she dies, if that's what's going to happen. So I think that's a pretty good idea. I gave this, I've been trying to figure it out. I did the Lexi method and I finished the book. 30 minutes.
I have been multiple times people have called things a Lexi method, and it's all just waiting till the last minute to do things.
Yes, that's true.
Like different versions of that. It's so funny.
I've been thinking for 30 minutes trying to figure out what I think of this book. I think I'm landing on 3 stars, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm hating it, but I think I'm going to do 3 for now, but if anything, I think it might be a little bit lower.
I'm just bringing up the comments. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. Okay, so we got Sherry, 3 stars, which is the same as you. Rachel Reeds absolutely fucking hated it, she said. Love that. Haley, 3 stars. Emma, 2 stars, not Christmassy enough. That's my thing with like all these Christmas books, because I just read Wreck the Halls, which is by Tessa Bailey, and that was not Christmassy either. But like I really like that one. In the top 10 books of the year, I feel like that is
Carly's lying.
Yeah, I 100%. Deb, 3 stars. Hi Gabby. I gave it 4, but more I think about it is 3.5. Lexi, what'd you give it?
It was feeling like 3 until the epilogue, and now it's 2.
Mm-hmm. I can't even remember the epilogue.
I feel like there were 15 epilogues.
The epilogues were so dumb because we can talk about it later, but the epilogues are what, like, I'm angry.
Stephanie gave it 4, saw the twist coming a mile away, but enjoyed it overall, and I also gave it 4 stars. I feel like if I had not read it all in one go, though, and like had picked it up the next day.
This is puking. Didn't this happen last time we were on a discussion?
Yeah.
Yes. He doesn't like you guys.
Holly, I didn't hate it. I just wasn't invested, so I gave it 3 stars. I honestly feel like 3 stars is fair. I went into this wanting not too Christmassy, so I exceeded at that part. I picked this to get in the holiday spirit. I am not a holiday person. I don't really care about holidays. So I just thought it would be fun to pick this. And I really liked Secluded Cabin Sleep 6. So
I also liked that one, even though a lot of people did not.
I really liked it. I had a great time. I was so bored and legit put the audio on to go to sleep. The audiobook was not good. It was one narrator for several points of views, which is my worst.
Yeah. I have some complaints about the formatting of the book and how it translated to audio because of that as well.
Yes. And I felt like the narrator was very monotoned. And like that's at 3 times speed.
Like I didn't care.
Because really, like, you gotta be so bad to be monotoned at 3 times speed. Carly gave it 2. Epilogue made me mad too.
Yeah, we can talk about it later, but I just feel like it was like hello. The end was literally just like, oh well, here's the whole story told back to you again in case something was confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, the book should just do that. I don't need you to do this for me.
But like the concept and like even the bookstore setting. I love the bookstore setting. When we were getting in the bookstore, I was like, excellent. This is great, cozy. But the twist and how everything wrapped up was so disappointing. Yeah. I almost gave it 2.5, but then didn't want to be nice. Sorry. Winston is only allowed to like me. No holidays. Yeah. I'm not a holiday person. Like even with kids now, I'm just like, I don't care about this. Sorry. I gave it 3.5, but I feel like it was more 2.5. I wanted more with this book and read it a few weeks ago. Can hardly remember it. I literally read it 2 days ago and don't even remember it. So,
but the thing is, I don't know if it was the exact same general plot but longer. I wouldn't have liked it anymore.
Yeah. I've determined I like Lisa Unger's backlist more than her recent stuff. Interesting.
I've heard that she has one that's really good. I can't remember what it's called. Deb, which one is it?
You know what I really loved? How short it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I knocked this out and I was I had the arc of it and I had the audiobook, so I'm just like flipping through my Kindle so fast. I feel
Me
so
too.
like
Me too.
I started it during sprints on Wednesday. Like it was dragging so like it was short, but it took me forever to get through. I just like did not care.
Yeah. I read this a couple weeks ago. I don't remember the epilogue and I read it literally 2 days ago. So
I just remember it because it made me angry.
We'll get into the epilogue in spoilers, so you can see what happened in the epilogue.
Oh,
but let's go with how this was written first.
That's one of my main complaints. I should have
please
brought
go.
I don't have the physical book, but I can't remember if it was like this in the other book that I have read, but she just like changes timelines and perspectives in the middle of chapters with no warning, and it is so confusing. And like I was reading it physically, like I had the ebook on my Kindle, so I was like switching back and forth between doing that and the audio. And especially on the audio, it was bad. Like it was so easy to be like, I don't know who I'm following. Like, is this in the past? And like literally it would be the same character and she would be talking about something that was happening right now, and then the next sentence would be in the past. And I'm like, why are you doing this?
Yes. Yeah. That took me more than I would like to admit to figure out. Like, I think it started with the stripper getting kidnapped, right? So we start with that, but then we go into whatever her name, the bookshop owner's perspective. And I'm like,
Madeline.
Yeah. And I'm like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
And then we go to the podcaster, but first of all, it's one narrator and it's a dude and it's a woman speaking, which is absolutely she didn't change her voice at all. Like it was very confusing. And I'm like, where am I? So it's at least 3 perspectives, one narrator, and there's no distinction in the chapter of where we are. It was very confusing. And I feel like maybe if I were just reading it physically, I would have picked up on it more. But since I was, I always rely on the audiobook, I was like, who am I?
Yeah. I also, to Carly's comment, I also listened to it when I was driving. Like I finished today. And so like I listened to the whole last hour at like, I don't know, between
he's way
between like 2 and 3, I don't know, it was like 2.5 to 3 times speed, somewhere in there. And like I was focusing so hard on trying to keep everything straight of like, wait, who am I and where am I?
Yeah.
Because there was no distinction at all, especially like when it starts with the girl that goes missing. Like, you don't actually know who she is because they never
Yeah.
say her name. So then the next chapter, you're like, wait, is this the same girl?
I was
And,
like,
like-
is this stripper working in a bookstore?
I was very confused. Like,
I was
the
like, wow, she
way-
has more, like, she has another job. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and
Weird.
so the stripper getting kidnapped is in the prologue, but then you go straight into chapter 1 and it's Madeline's perspective, and you're like in a bookstore and you're like, huh? Like what? Like
Mhm.
where?
Yeah.
Like it did not feel like a good introduction. It was very confusing.
Yeah.
But I feel like once I got it down and once I got used to the audiobook and everything, like I was fine, but it took me way too long. and also I really, really like books with podcast features, and I did not care about this podcast.
I didn't feel like he was necessary.
It was
I would
pointless.
100% agree. Like
Like he was just there to make it a podcast book.
A podcast,
Big
yeah.
buzzword right now. I feel like I didn't like. Why do we need to know about him and his dumb relationship? Like, get out of here. Doesn't like go. I don't. It wasn't. And no,
no,
there was literally no need. He didn't work with our main character other than to be like, oh, I'm researching this podcast and make her think about it again. But that could have come up in a different way. That is
Yeah.
some like her dad mentioned it or somebody else, and it didn't need to be there.
The only reason it was there was to have a reason to bring up the past and
Yeah.
like
Yes.
have it be investigated again so that they could find who did it. Like, that's literally it.
yeah.
It didn't need to be him. It didn't need, like, there was nothing actually unique about him doing it or his involvement that fed into the story at all.
And it could have even been done differently in a way that this guy didn't come to the town, but he was doing the podcast and she heard it, which caused her to then look into it, because then we wouldn't need to get his perspective, because we did not need
Right.
that at
No.
all.
No.
Could have even been shorter.
The book length.
Rachel said writing was choppy and I was so confused about the timelines and made it easy for me to zone out. Yeah, if I was depending solely on the audiobook, I would like this would have been 1 star for me because
So I wasn't doing both at the same time. I was going back and forth between my Kindle and the audiobook. And I found it fairly easy once I realized that there were different timelines and all this stuff, but it was really confusing at first.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there was one point I had to rewind because I was like, oh, I zoned out for 2 seconds and now I don't know what's going on.
I know. That's why I have to have the physical in front of me, because if I don't, my anxiety brain just goes like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
So I had to go back so many times in the audiobook because I kept getting lost. Not good, not good.
Yeah.
I was constantly getting confused by the timeline switches. Yeah.
And all she had to do was put the date.
Yes. Like, don't break it up mid-chapter.
Or like before.
Yes.
And it like,
yeah, it helped. I think it was there were a couple, and it wasn't consistently, but there were a couple times where it would label it as like 3 days before Christmas.
Yes.
And you're like, and those became the chapters that were about what's his face that was kidnapped.
Very easy to get lost. I wondered if I would have been easier in print. Maybe past was different. I don't.
It was a slight page break.
Yeah, it was. And also, I was reading the arc, and every page break was like the number 5, and I'm like, what does that mean? It was.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
But there was something like I remember there being like one letter. And then it would like continue the word on the second line, and I was like,
"No!" I was like, "Is it my kin?" It was the art. Every page break was a 5, and I was like, "What?"
That's good.
It was weird. That's because it could have been the same story without the podcaster. Yeah, I love books with a podcast feature, but this one,
yeah,
I don't want to like. I don't think men should have microphones. Sorry. The podcast was not necessary. It could have been a journalist or a rando for all I care. Yes, 100%. I stand by it. I will say it again if you want. He was there to make the book length longer. Yeah. Yep. This was 1 star for me. Yeah, I don't blame. Like, I personally had a good time, but like I just base it off of having a good time. Like, you know. He was there for the book flap to say true crime podcast.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. I should have gone back many times, but I didn't care to. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have missed much. But it would say 4 days before Christmas, then 2 days later, say 6 days before Christmas. Let's go in order. 100%.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes books can pull that off if they're trying to like trick you, but this one was not.
Yeah. I read it physically, and there wasn't much difference between them.
Yeah, it wasn't any.
No.
Like there wasn't any real thing other than a page break.
Yes, that is not enough for like
I shouldn't have to work hard to figure out what I'm trying to like.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't have to use context to tell me when I am.
Yeah, I agreed. The more we talk about it, the more I question my rating. That's what always happens.
Yes.
Because we all think critically all of a sudden. We're like, oh yeah.
I think that this is one that would have annoyed me anyway. And here's the thing. Have I been reading many books recently that I don't like? Yes. So maybe I'm just like angry at reading right now.
Yeah.
No, same. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Because I read one yesterday that was all about Tom Cruise.
And also, it's the end of the year, and for some reason, at the end of the year, I'm just like sick of reading, and then I have to go into the next year and keep reading, and I'm like, oh. I have to meet my next year's goal. I have to start reading.
I'm just annoyed that I keep reading books that I'm not like loving.
I haven't had a 5-star in a while.
I had one like last week or early this week or something.
No,
so.
I've had like 3 and 4s, and I'm like, where are my 5 stars? Hello.
Which is surprising because you give out 5 stars so easily.
I know. Where are they?
There's me. I'm over here giving out 5 stars everywhere. Like, you get a 5-star, you get a 5-star. This one did not get a 5-star.
You're turning into me. I did really enjoy this. It just wasn't super. That's how I feel. Like, I had a good time. Also, I go into thrillers and I don't think, like, I did not think about who the killer was going to be. So when it came up, I was like, okay. But I wasn't like, oh my god. You know, I was just like, cool.
That's a spoiler. Never mind.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be vague, but even with being vague, if you are like currently reading it still, it's a spoiler.
Yeah. We're about to go. This is such a short book. We're like done with non-spoilers right now.
Yeah. The Tom Cruise is Rouge by Mona Awad. I'm not joking. I was texting Michelle. I was like, why is this book about Tom Cruise?
I will not.
Why?
That is real. Amy knows. If I wasn't leading a discussion for this one, it would have been an easy TNF. I get that. I get it. If I had been solely relying on the audiobook, I would have been 1 star.
It was hard. And that's why that's why I feel like I was more generous with my rating, because I read it audio and I know that the audio was part of the problem.
It was.
Like if I had read it more physically, then I might have liked it more. Still not more than 3, but like I think that's
my opinion on that, though, is that the book should translate well to audio. I have read books that are very confusing in their format and their plot and everything, and the audio is still fine. It was the way that this book was specifically
true.
Like it was the way it was done that I think it was not great in print format either.
I agree. Yeah, I just don't think this was like a strong book. I think that's really the issue.
And I hadn't really looked into the physical one. That I honestly read like maybe 2 chapters in the physical, and then I was doing primarily audio. So I didn't even really look to see what the actual format of it was. Like once you get into like the podcast stuff, which isn't really even there. Like again, the podcast stuff was kind of irrelevant for most of it. But I didn't even look to see. So that's kind of where my reservation was. Like, I don't know if it's different, but now knowing that it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, definitely not a full 3 stars then.
Hi Katie, thank you so much for the Christmas card. My kids love it. They love The Nightmare Before Christmas. So they're having a great time. If it wasn't only 6 hours long and an MLM book, I would have DNF'd.
I love that people call us MLM.
Yeah,
Katrina does a lot too.
Is it a Tom Cruise or Tom Cruise?
Mona Awad is into Tom Cruise. Like,
disgusting.
Like she's very physically attracted to Tom Cruise.
He's like as short as I am.
I don't know anything about
his biggest paleontologist on a man.
There's like plot points about like talking about his teeth and like
his teeth are off center. Have you seen?
Yeah. She was like,
I don't pay attention to Tom Cruise enough to know or care.
I've seen like so many articles.
His one tooth is slightly longer than the others, and it's so cool. And I just love Tom Cruise. I'm like, a lot of the book is about Tom Cruise, so no,
I will not be reading. I have never read a Mona Awad, and I just feel like I never will. So
I DNF'd Bunny. So
Bunny's the best one.
I will not be doing not the center tooth. Yeah, they're like off center.
We can move on from this because I don't want to.
He is a douche.
Yeah, I believe it. I just don't know anything about him. Like
you don't want to. Just not a good guy.
But like for a lot of the plot of your book to be centered around Tom Cruise being attractive, I'm like, are you okay?
No. All right. Since this book is so short, we're gonna get into spoilers. So if you have not
talk about upcoming stuff real quick.
Yeah. Yes. Before you leave, let's talk about what we're doing next. Don't leave yet. Sorry, my computer is being really slow. Monica?
Wait, what am I supposed to do? Oh,
I'll talk about it.
January is coming.
Okay, I was like, Monica's struggling.
I was like, wait, what are we doing? I spaced out. So coming up in January, we will have a guest host, which means we will be joined by Sav from Riveting Reads, who helped us select the book that we will be reading, which is I'm Not Done With You Yet. Shouldn't remember. I'm going to put in chat with Michelle. Sutanto, and I'm very excited for this book. Everything will be on my channel, and Sav will be there for both the sprints, hopefully, and the discussion. So that's coming up. All of us just posted our announcement videos for the first 4 months of 2024. So you can go watch all of them, one on each channel. And you'll be able to find out, if you haven't watched them already, the books that we have for the next couple months.
Also, moving forward, we are doing the read-along feature on the Storygraph. That will be linked in our Discord. I don't know if Michelle has any of that in
I don't, because I didn't know about it until just
you didn't know about the Discord?
Oh, the Discord, yeah.
Yeah,
the Discord is linked down below. Yes. Yeah, everything is linked down below.
Will be linked in the Discord, so you can chat. We started it this month, but like didn't really announce it anywhere other than on Discord. But it's really fun because you can like chat as you go, and I will be sectioning things so you can like not get spoiled on things and all of that. It's really fun. I was reading through everything before we started. So we're going to be doing that moving forward, just so you have a little more interaction with the book before the live show.
This is my first by this author. She has a ton of books.
It'll be my third.
I skipped all of them. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah, I've read 2.
Yeah, I own several, but I haven't gotten there yet. So okay.
Also, Gabby, Tom Cruise doesn't come in until around the third in, and then he's after that there a lot.
I am so excited for these books. Okay. Sorry. My Google gave me a reminder to switch the laundry. I was like, okay, we are getting into spoilers now for Christmas presents. If you haven't read it and you want to, I would leave. I love you. Goodbye. Or if you want to get spoiled, please stay. Let's go. Let's talk about this podcaster again and what happened to him, and that he was like a total fraud, but like he kept he has like a ton of books and he records people illegally and then he gets shot. And I just like did not care. The only thing I cared about was that like they had this whole Time article about how he was like doing all this illegal stuff. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But otherwise, what was the point of him?
There was no point. You said everything. There's nothing else to talk about with him.
Like, what?
Because he just
I love a podcast. And I was like, okay, he got shot. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I was like, cool.
I don't care.
Also, his like, who was it? The guy that was with him, his friend, that got shot as well.
That was so random.
Yeah. He showed up out of nowhere for no reason. But then I'm pretty sure, because I was listening to the audio while driving, so like I may have just been making things up in my head. But was his friend, his name was Roger.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Roger Wheeler, right? I think. It literally, I think they mentioned it once, so probably nobody's going to remember this unless they read it 15 minutes ago. But I'm pretty sure that I heard him, like, when they were talking about it was like the article that was talking about him and like Roger Wheeler or something. But the guy that sold the bookstore to Madeline was Mr. Wheeler. And I was like,
I feel like that was
last name. So I don't know if it's an accident that she just used the same name or not, because there was no explanation as to what that was supposed to mean. But I was like, Wheeler, wait a second.
Here's the thing. She used the word erected 7 times in like 4 pages. And I was like, you need to stop. So here's like, the issue is the editing. It's not that it was some sort of secret thing. Like, I think that she just wanted to use the name and happened to use it twice.
That's fine.
I was like, did you just say erected more than once?
I missed that.
Well, okay, no, here. So she was like, well, no, it was whenever we were reading the podcast guy. He was like, oh yeah, my dad's in the nursing home and he gets boners for the nurses. And then she's like, well, he is like, yeah, I have to, or my tent is erected in my house and I have to get that fence erected. And like, it was so many times. And I was like, why are you?
I do not recall.
Ended.
And normally I catch on to that because that's like a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, it was so. I was like, you could have picked a different word.
There are no spoilers. You will know who did the second they are introduced. Yeah, and also there were like 4 characters in this whole.
That's what I was gonna say earlier. Like the person that it was the only person that we weren't getting their perspective from, or that was not like her dad who had a stroke.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, there are 4 characters in this whole 200-page book, so like it has to be one of the 4.
Yeah.
Come on now.
There was a moment where, because I took multiple days to read this and I kind of forgot what was happening, so I had to like refresh myself, and I had opened the book to like read the last couple of pages that I had just listened to like 3 days before that, and I was like, okay, this guy's talking to this guy named Chet. I was like, who the heck is Chet?
I'm like bringing up Chet and I'm like, who is he?
And then he says like, oh, my brother Badger, and I was like, oh, wait, who's Badger? And then
also the name Badger, like we never get why he's named Badger, and then
they just
Steve for the first time, and I'm like, Badger's better than Steve. Like,
I know, but it was just so weird, that whole relationship.
Yes, I'm gonna like. I did not care about his romance with what's her face. Why was that in there? I don't like thrillers. I love romance. I love thrillers, but romance in thrillers, pass.
But why was he like? Here's the thing. He was secretly leaving her presents that she thought was from the guy in prison, right?
And he was married.
Yeah.
Like,
this was like
the fact that he's like, I married her, but I loved you the whole time. I'm like,
I know.
Oh, that's not sexy.
So
like,
so romantic.
What do you mean?
Kiss in the kitchen in front of my family while they clap.
Hated it. Getting shot felt like it came out of nowhere to me.
It was so weird.
And like I did not care about this dude, so I'm just like, okay. Like,
and then the next thing you know, he's in the hospital. Like,
like I do not care. I didn't get the podcast. Yeah, we talked about this in the non-spoiler section like the entire time, and we just like we did not need this dude.
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah.
And his weird love interest.
Yeah, he had a weird love interest, and then
Yes,
she
like,
had a weird love interest, and I'm like, why is any
don't
of this
I
weird?
don't need any of it.
Yeah, I did not. I liked Madeline. That was
I'm
it.
getting really angry thinking about
Oh no! There weren't enough potential bad guys to have a shock moment. Yeah, there just weren't enough characters.
Which, like,
Right.
honestly, I don't need to be shocked. Like, if I just have a good time reading it and I'm not surprised at all, that's fine. But I wasn't having a great time.
I had a good time, but like I always have a good time, basically. It felt rushed to get it out for Christmas. I agree.
Yeah.
It came out in October.
Yeah. The romance was so weird. Agreed.
I did not need it.
I did not, and I love romance. No.
Mhm.
The way I don't remember any of this, and I read it last night. I read it 2 days ago. I do remember this part, but I still don't remember that epilogue, which we got to talk about.
Okay, Katrina picked up on it too. Thank you. Because I was laying in bed and I was like, how many times can we say erected?
I wish I had picked up on it.
It's at I can tell you where it is. It's like it's close to the beginning when he first goes into the house that he's staying in, which is so weird. Like, why did he buy this rundown house to sleep in a tent in the living room?
Oh my god! Okay, I remember that part. Okay.
Yeah, the tent was erected.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the tent was
And then like people come up to like these kids because that's like the party house where everyone goes to have sex, and then like because obviously abandoned buildings. But then he's like, "Oh, these pesky kids! I need to erect a fence." And I'm like, "I hate you."
I felt like the writing really goes downhill once an author is really established.
Especially when they have like 70 books.
Yeah, and she definitely does. But I have only read 2 of them. So like I will go back to like her middle books, not her beginning.
Yeah, Deb didn't answer me earlier. What was the one that you liked?
Yeah. Yes,
the one
Deb.
that's really popular.
I'll pick it up. It's always the one you most suspect, yeah. Not always, but a lot of them, yeah. Also, her dad magically heals in the end. No, it was just magically happy. And like the whole time, she's like, he should be getting better by now. He should be getting better by now. And then all of a sudden, poof, he can talk.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. This is part of the stuff in the epilogue that made me angry.
Okay. We could talk about the epilogue. We're in spoilers.
Well, there's a lot of comments, so we can like quickly go through those and then I'll go on my rant.
Don't call me Badger, call me Steve.
Okay, Steve.
Can you not call me that?
Okay,
She keeps calling him Badger in her head.
Yeah, I know. She keeps saying Badger. It gave me Jar of Hearts vibes, but not as good. I felt the exact same way, Katrina. I was like, this is Jar of Hearts for me, but not as good. I thought about Jar of Hearts yesterday. I was like, should I reread? I don't know. Stalker Badger. The way he was the one giving Christmas presents while he has a wife. Please, disgusting.
But he also tried to tell her to not call the cops on his brother.
Yeah, he sucks.
So why is she with him?
Because there's only 2 men in this town. Badger and his murderer brother, so.
Yes, this is true.
I thought for sure Badger was guilty, but he was the romantic.
I know. I wanted it to be him.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I wanted
In some
him to
ways,
be
he is guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty of being a sleazeball.
I wanted Badger to be involved. Well, he was still not a good dude. So.
He was the Christmas presents, dude.
Yeah. I love romance, and it was just not needed in this book. 100% agree. Wait, I want to bring this up. It was trying to be Jar of Hearts. I agree. It was trying to be Jar of Hearts. Well, October is kind of the month for Christmas releases. It is, because I think that's when Wreck the Halls came out, too.
A lot of them come out in October. Mm-hmm. He did put up a tree. He probably erected that, too. I was so offended. I was like, I know this doesn't only mean that, but like he had just talked about his dad having boners in the nursing home for the nurses, and then she kept saying the word erected, and I was really upset.
I tried reading Last Girl Ghosted, and no. It's the magic of Christmas that healed him. Obviously, it's a Christmas book. We should know that. It was Steve.
It was Steve.
Definitely Steve. Because I was like, ew, that's worse than Badger, is what I was thinking. So I remembered it. I remember no one's name ever, but I remember that. I liked her Hollow series books or the ones from the series I read of her recent. I think I like the train one.
I think the Confessions one is the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Yeah. One that's like 757 or something weird.
Still think it is. It could. I mean, they could be.
I still think it is.
They could be working together, and Steve is just like, I'm just gonna.
That's what the epilogue should have been.
That's what the epilogue should have been.
It was.
Yes.
Well, didn't he pose as Steve? Didn't he like? That's how he like
Yeah.
tricked
Yes.
people. Like he
Yeah.
tricked
was
that
wearing
girl
a
by
wedding
calling
ring.
himself Steve. Like, what about the name Steve? Just tells people that I'm trustworthy.
I thought at one point Badger had killed his wife and was hiding the. That would have been so much better.
You know what?
Like if the epilogue was just like Badger or Steve or whatever his name was getting his like burying his wife or something.
It should have
And
been
then-
about burying
that
him
would've
after
been-
what he did.
We should be writers. Chet, such a bad name. Yeah.
Chester.
So it's Badger. So next Christmas book, stocking stuffers was Badger all along. I wanted Badger to be helping his brother. Yes.
Mhm.
We all agree. Yeah. Also, Lee's Christmas, we talked about this in the non-spoiler section, but all Christmas books are not Christmassy. They just like need books to come out at Christmas time.
Wait, did we ever find out why he dressed up like Santa?
I laughed out loud when that happened. She was like in the basement, like hello, and then Santa comes down, and I laughed out loud.
He had a
I was
Santa
like,
mask.
this is embarrassing.
Like, why? For
there
what?
was no reason.
No reason. No.
Like
I
it
was-
needed to be part of the plot, like something. But it was
Like, I can't not laugh thinking of like being kidnapped and like Santa walking.
it was like Santa?
Santa chasing her through
I
the
could
woods.
not figure out what you were talking about, but you were talking about the stripper.
Yeah.
And then Chet
Yes.
comes down as Santa. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we talking about? I'm just
Why
like,
did he dress as Santa? I don't.
because it's
understand.
Christmas. Duh.
Like, he kidnapped her without a Santa suit on.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, but that is true, Monica. Like he had already revealed who he was, and she saw his truck following her.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
Right.
you would like she would know that it was him, and it's not like I don't know.
Yeah, there was no
I'm-
point other than he clearly needed the costume for some
Yeah.
reason.
My thing was that like this wasn't his first time.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, did he have another costume for the other girls that he kidnapped? Or was it always around Christmas so he could just reuse the Santa suit?
Probably just all around.
Did he have
Christmas.
seasonal costumes for his
Because-
kidnapping?
Maybe. Well, the whole like the initial thing happened around Christmas too.
Yes. December 23rd, 2014.
I like how
Did
you
they-
remember
did
that,
they
but not
say-
him
I
dressing
can't remember
up as Santa
anything with
going
And they
into
said that
the
he
no
had
name.
done the same thing to two other girls in between.
Yeah.
So were they?
Sure.
Do we think that? Did they say that they were both at Christmas?
I don't
couldn't
think there was
remember.
any.
I don't think it was
information.
specified.
So
But if he did it like around the anniversary, that's what serial killers tend to
right, that's what they tend to do, but they didn't mention that, which is
I'm just picturing him like walking down as the Easter Bunny.
Holly.
a jack o' lantern. Like, can you put a pumpkin suit on for Halloween?
Yes, I agree. It needed to be more integrated into the plot instead of it just being like,
Christmas mask. Yeah,
yeah.
I agree. Because that was like silly and not anything.
I actually did laugh out loud.
Yes. But yeah. She saw the empty niche in the market and was like, right, a thriller book clubs took the bait. We did. And I'm not the only one doing it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not the only one who picked this for December.
Yeah, no.
One of
Oh,
people
for sure.
have done it. So she got all of us. Oops, I'm sorry. I skipped your comment, Katie. Also, when the stripper was being followed, bitch, why would you not drive in circles to see if you were being followed?
My thing with that was that like she walks out of her job and he's just creepily in the parking lot, and then she's like, why would you do that? That's creepy. And he's like, oh, I didn't think about it. She's like, I will go to dinner with you.
Yeah, like, why don't you call the cops? Call literally anyone.
Yeah.
Call someone. You're a woman.
There are people inside.
Ugh,
Yes.
stupid. Christmas tradition. That's what I'm saying. Serial seasonal killing depression. I couldn't say that for the life of me. I mean, I would watch the Easter Bunny one. We need an Easter thriller. Okay. Debs
Yeah.
did it too. See? Got us
Yeah.
too, Deb.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's talk about the whole reveal because we did talk about it being Chet, but like it was also still the guy that was in prison. Like,
Yes.
so
Yes.
there were multiple like murders or disappearances that happened, and the guy, what was his name, Evan or something,
I think it was Evan.
did kill her friend because he was sleeping with the friend, and she told
Yes.
the main character. So he like stabbed her a bunch of times, but then they had like this like Evan and Chet had like this like weird friendship where he somehow was encouraged to kidnap people and murder them, and like he was going for the other friends and also our main character. It was
Yeah, I
just
don't know how those. I still don't know how they worked together. Like,
it
I
was
don't
like they were like,
actually understand.
I don't know if it was planned. I think what happened was Steph, I think her name was not like that wasn't intentional. It just happened like out of circumstance.
So
But
Chet was going to kidnap the other two regardless, and Evan just happened to fly off the handle
Yes.
at the same
yes.
time.
Yeah, because Chet was gonna kidnap the two he did and the main character, I think.
Yes.
And then he just happened to kill Steph. And then was pinned for everything because like Madeline or Maddie or whatever saw him kill the one.
Right.
And she got away. So it was interesting, I guess, that it was multiple people because the correct guy was in prison. I think they were trying to like show you his backstory and make you think maybe he didn't do it and that it was completely someone else and then it was still him.
Mhm.
But it still wasn't interesting enough.
But it wasn't him for everything.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it was just like there was no real reason for like there was no real explanation other than like Evan brought out the dark side of Chet.
Yeah, and so Chet was bad all along, and then Evan comes along, who we know, or Madeline's dad, the cop, knows is bad. So they like hook up. Like the thing is, we could have gotten way more backstory about that, and that would have been so interesting.
Yeah.
But instead, it was Evan is in prison. We never hear about him. Let's have this stupid podcaster come and tell us what is happening and have him get shot.
If anything, the podcaster should have been like maybe the podcaster thing would have been more interesting if instead of coming to the town, the whole like his whole involvement was him interviewing Evan in jail to get his story.
In theory, he was planning on doing that. Like he was supposed to go the next day, but then she solved it before him.
I think that would have made the like podcast element more interesting. Like it would have given him more reason to exist because like, yeah, he didn't actually contribute anything.
No.
But if he had gone to talk to Evan, then we would have had Evan's background. We would have had more story about him and it would have maybe filled in some of those gaps that we were missing.
Yeah. And it did seem like Evan was using Madeline to get back.
Yes.
Like he definitely was not interested in her the way she was interested in him. And also it was so like she wanted to be not a good girl or like the police daughter or whatever and like date the bad boy. But like if your dad is telling you that this dude like physically harmed another woman, wouldn't you be like, no, hello? Like I would stay the fuck away, but I don't know. I felt like that wasn't really fleshed out either.
No. Okay, now is my time to complain about the epilogue.
Yes.
It was so dumb. One, why was it so long? But two, the epilogue was like just telling us the whole plot of the book to start. It like went through every detail because I feel like it was trying to like re-explain things that maybe didn't make the most sense, which is so dumb. Like you should not have to do that. Like I don't need the book told to me again. It was so frustrating. Like that means you didn't write the book well. Sorry, Lisa Unger, if you're here. Because Michelle tagged her and things. And then the romance, that's when we find out about him being the one to leave the Christmas presents, him being whatever, Steve Badger. And then the whole, like, why did that, like, why did she put a romance into the epilogue?
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
Especially because I feel like Madeline does not like Badger at all. Like,
no!
I feel like she barely likes him as a friend.
No.
Yeah.
She didn't see him as
like,
anything other than the childhood best friend until the last 5 seconds.
But then it didn't make any sense after watching him, like, defend his brother after it was very clearly his brother saying, like, don't call the cops, like, continuing to call him Badger. Like, how can you be attracted to someone that you call Badger?
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing made me so mad because everything felt stupid.
I really didn't like the part with the dad.
Oh yeah, and then that too. It was like he was magically
magic.
Like,
and I can't tell you how many times the nurse or whatever was like, he'll gradually get better, but it wasn't a gradual thing. It was literally he started talking, and that was like fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, because like and we didn't see any progression during the book.
No. Like all of a sudden he's walking, like with a cane and stuff, but like there's no way.
Are we supposed to think, did Chet have something to do with what happened to him?
Because I think they kind of implied that he had a stroke when he found out that it was Chet.
Yeah.
Like the dad.
They were like, Chet was there when he had the stroke, and I was like,
yeah, I think it was implied that the dad figured it out, but then had a stroke when he found out officially and couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because there were moments where like her dad was trying to talk to her, but like couldn't really say anything. Yeah. And I feel like she was like, I can tell in his eyes he's trying to say something to me. I think I'm not making that up. Yeah. And then like, yeah, they implied that he had a stroke when he found that out. And then magically,
I couldn't tell if it was like the shock of it was what caused it, or like, I don't know, the way it was worded almost made it feel like, because I just remember them saying like Chet was there when her dad had the stroke, and I was like, are we supposed to believe that he did something to him? And that's
I think it was like the shock and the
I think he realized he was like in the presence of a murderer, and it just like
but it was
makes more sense because like it's just weird that it like, what are the odds that he would have been there the minute that he figured it out, and then I don't know.
He said that like Chet took odd jobs with her dad as he was getting older. That was like in the very first chapter. So then in the epilogue where it was like when my dad realized what was happening because he was talking about Badger and Chet's house.
Yeah, because about
and then
he was
and then Chet just happened to like be there when he figured it out. I don't know if you can get like a stroke from stress.
I don't know.
I don't know how strokes work. I just feel like that was a convenient plot device.
Yeah, because her dad was like, he had never stopped investigating because he didn't feel like it was like fully solved or whatever. And like he had figured out like the location based on whatever and like these big like secluded properties, and was like, oh, and they happen to be like together doing their job.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go back up. A good twist makes you go back and rethink everything you read from the beginning, but this one just kind of told you what happened.
Yeah, it wasn't a twist. It was just like she was rehashing everything just in case you didn't catch something.
Yeah, and like I said, and I'm not even exaggerating, where there were like 5 people in this whole book. And like one had a stroke and couldn't talk. So like you have only so many characters that you're being introduced to.
Yeah, which is fine, but I don't feel like the characters were interesting either.
No, I agree.
Like if there's a small cast and it's clear that one of them did something, and like you could pretty easily like you could be suspicious of them and whatever. Like that's fine if they are like interesting characters, but I don't feel like that was the case.
I also want to know why the heck those 2 sisters were taken. And like because we get at least a little bit, we understand why like the Steph friend, like why she was involved. because of like sleeping with Evan. We like I get that, but wasn't there even another person? Was someone else was killed that night, right? Or was it just Steph?
I think it.
There,
I thought there was two
there were
that were
two.
killed and two that went missing.
I thought there were 4 total. I thought there were 4 of them, and then Badger was their friend group.
Okay, I couldn't
But
remember if
maybe-
there was
I
another
don't
one
know.
that actually did die, but then the fact that it was like the 2 sisters that were taken, but like one it annoyed me that they were only ever referred to as the pair of them. So like we don't actually know anything about them as a family or other than the mom that's like trying to find them, but we don't learn anything about them individually or why the heck Chet was trying to take them and why he would try to take them together.
Yeah.
As a single person, why would he have tried? Like, why was that? I don't know. It like maybe it's not important, but at the same time, they were mentioned so many times, but only ever as Ainsley and Sam, and never thing to provoke him or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. I cringed at the romance. Why the fuck would he be leaving stalker gifts? Would be a good idea. And for her to think it's from Evan.
Yeah.
Like,
that
why?
means that they're creepy.
Right. And he's married. I can't get over the fact that this dude is married and he said to Madeline, like, I married her, but I'm in love with you. Like,
I know he said we fight
That's
about
not
it. He's like, my wife knows that we fight about it.
Yeah.
Right. So bad. But also, like, if she was getting all these gifts and never saying anything about it, wouldn't he have like wondered, like, is she not like, has she not figured it out? Or like what? Like the fact that he never even questioned it at all and just let her go on.
Yeah. I did not.
What?
Like, this romance made no sense to me, especially him being married and like going out of his way to send the secret gifts. Like, that's just.
And while she's like, oh, how are you guys doing? Like, oh, she's gone? What?
And then her still calling him Badger. Like, it just felt like like they did not like each other, which whatever. Her dad faking the stroke and sneaking out as Santa to abduct women, that would have been fun.
Oh my god.
That would have been fun. That would have been great.
That would have been
I 100% agree. I wanted to know more about the 2 sisters. The reveal of what happened to them felt so rushed. Yeah, and it is a novella, so like I get that it's like going to be.
But then you need to have less in it. It's not as much as a typical like normal thriller length, but then just don't give any details.
Yeah, we could have taken out the podcaster completely and then put more in about the people who were actually affected.
Yeah.
Or have it be one person that was kidnapped and like they found the body. The fact that they were missing the whole time makes you feel like you're supposed to care about like, oh, I mean, obviously you assume they probably died, but the possibility of like not having, they didn't find any of their remains until the end, like the epilogue basically. And so like, I feel like it's leading you to think you're supposed to care about them, but when you know nothing but their names, there is nothing to care about. Like,
yeah. She wanted Evan to have a redemption arc so bad. Yeah, like what? Like, we knew he did something. Like, she saw him kill someone and then he tried to kill her. So like, I did not feel bad for this kid. And then his ex-girlfriend testified and was like, he literally stabbed me in the stomach.
Yep.
The fact that she had to, like that, unfortunately, like she had to come back and, you know, dredge up whatever happened to her.
Which wasn't even just that she was stabbed. It was also that her parents cared more about money than her.
It was too long to get away with things not being fleshed out because it's a novella. Yeah. Like, I just feel like putting in the podcast feature was like took away from some important things that we could have learned about.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And once again, I really love a podcast thing. Like, this one was just like so silly. I was like, what is happening? And I understand that like crime podcasts are really popular, and like a lot of the books that I like that have podcast features really work for me, but I don't know. Just take it out. I don't know.
Yeah, it felt like it was there for the sake of saying that you have a podcast element, but it did not actually help the story at
No.
all. It did nothing for it.
No.
Great.
Wow.
We talked about this way longer than I thought we would for a novella. I was like, we're gonna be in and out.
We went off.
Because it made me angry. I feel like the first half of it, I was like, this is fine. It's feeling like 3 stars. And then, like, as things kept going on, I was just getting mad.
Mhm.
I don't know. Like, I even with everyone say, like, I'm still gonna give it 4 stars. Like, I just, you know, good times. Whatever.
I think I am lowering to 2.5, which I said I probably would the more I thought about it. I just can't decide if I want to go with, like, because Goodreads, I don't know if I want to do 2 or 3 because, like, I did not care to pick it up. Every time I put it down, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I have to finish that book.
That's always a sign for me. If I don't want to pick
Yeah.
a book up, I'm like, this is
Mhm.
not.
If I don't want to pick a book up, I usually DNF. But like I said, if I would have stopped this in the middle and tried to pick it up the next night, I don't think I would have been successful.
Mhm.
You know, like it was a one and done for me. That was it.
Yeah.
And that happens to me a lot. Like one day I'm really enjoying the book and then I pick it up the second day and I'm like, oh, what am I reading?
True though.
Sorry, I meant to bring that up. I'm so glad I wasn't the only person I hate. Rachel, you're so funny. We're here for you.
Yes.
We normally never agree, so we didn't agree, so we're good.
Yeah.
And Katie didn't like it either, so Sherry
Mhm.
left. She gave it 3 stars. I feel like that's pretty bad for her. I want to thank everyone so much for reading this book. I'm sorry if you didn't like it. I liked it. Which was good because I picked it.
This was
You
for
gave it
Michelle.
the highest rating.
I did,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
But I
everybody.
also am easily entertained. So, like, you know. Also, I just flew through it. So I feel like, I don't know. I'm just Ascension and Christmas present. Heart. I don't know if you were here, Carly, but I sold Ascension probably finally. So I'm really, really happy. We hope to see you in January. With Sav. I'm so excited that Sav is doing it with us. I'm also so excited that that book got picked. Michelle is pro badger. No.
Michelle thinks that men should not have access to microphones, Jonathan.
I literally said that out loud. I've said that to so many people, and people are like, ouch. And I'm like, am I wrong? It was a fun roast, but I think I will be leaving my... Yeah, I'm leaving my rating. Yeah. You can roast it all
I
you
don't,
want.
I don't think that anybody should change their ratings because of my opinion.
No, absolutely. That's why I never change my opinion. I'm like, you make so many good points. 4 stars.
This book was terrible, but the ending was great. 5 stars.
5 stars, guys. I would read if she wanted to make Badger the bad guy next. Like, if we found out that Badger was
yes,
pet, like, I'd read another book by it, like in the same world. Also, if you wanted to
Badger kidnaps his ex-wife.
I swear to God, he killed her.
I want the ex-wife to be the bad guy. I want her to come back and get Badger.
Yeah.
And Madeline.
That would have been so cool. Mine stays at 3, but a very low 3. I get that. I like that you were already reading this, so we can read it all together. This was fun. Looking forward to January book. Yay! Thanks, Holly. I'm so excited for January. I definitely have my own opinion, but sometimes after discuss, I consider if I read it the right way. I always keep my rating.
Yeah, well, my thing is, like, I rate based on enjoyment. Like, I don't rate based on, like, critical thoughts and stuff. So if I loved this book, I could still sit here and complain about everything and keep my rating. So I don't blame anybody for liking the book or rating it highly, but I
complained the whole time and I'm still like 4 stars. Like, I literally roasted it. But you know what? I had a great time. That's all I'll give anything 5 stars. The Easter Bunny sequel, we will look at. Lisa Unger, if you're here, we have no Easter Bunny thrillers. I think
Unger's here. I'm quitting.
I think that Badger should be an Easter Bunny killer. Like, he's just gone bad because of Chet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would.
Wait, no! Easter Badger.
When you said wait, no, I was like, did
He
she
has to
comment?
dress up like a badger. Like he has to.
Thank you, Cassidy, for being here. I really appreciate the views. I think I only changed mine once or twice. I'm an easy rater. I used to be such a critical reviewer, and let me tell you, it's no fun. So, like, changing it to just like, I had a great time, whatever.
I also am an easy rater. This one just like happened to make
I
me
get
mad.
that. No, I mean, people love books that I absolutely hate. So, like, it's fine. Still thinking about raising my. I have to rewatch that live show. Just
Oh, it's so funny. The whole thing is hilarious.
if you haven't seen the live show for Ascension that we did, when was it? October? No.
September. It's on my channel because Amy was
Please
with us.
go. I DNF that book, so they tell me all about the book. And I am flabbergasted the entire time. And it
Things kept happening.
beautiful thing to watch.
I might go rewatch it.
I have a bunny photo with my brother from the early 70s. Let me tell you, my parents used to see the Easter Bunny too. I will never.
It needs to be in the like really horrifying like Macy's Easter Bunny costumes where they're like, what is it, J.C. Penney?
Yeah,
that did the like Easter Bunny.
We have my kids do Santa, but like the Easter Bunny, no,
horrifying.
No. I've blocked that book out of my head.
I enjoyed Ascension.
Watch the live show. It's literally so fun. Like Amy is just sitting there laughing the whole time. And I'm flabbergasted.
And I didn't understand half of it, so I'm like, I read it and I still don't know.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I love you. I like this book. That's all I have to say. Goodbye.